Hello, boys and ghouls, and welcome to another installment of Matthew Reads. Today's episode is brought to you by New Glasses and LGBT Obama stickers. Just a quick little thing. The story I'm reading is a friend of mine's, and recently, this past September, I met up with her at a convention, and she gave me a bunch of her drawings from the story. And this here is Anarchy, the Finnish kid. And we're reading about him today. I just thought I'd share that with you. Alright. Three. The Anarchy. The boy looked up at the finished mural, smiling at his work. The paint-like substance he had found had dried quickly, and while this made it a bit hard to work with, he was satisfied with the texture it gave the whole piece. He yawned and turned around, looking for the glove that usually covered the blue stars on his left hand. Even though these let him do many things, contact with most things hurt a crap load. And frankly, pain wasn't for him. Upon finding the soft glove, he slipped it on carefully, wincing every once in a while, but once it fit snugly on, the pain ceased. His smile widened, and he glided through many supplies littered through his den to get to the window. When he reached this window, this portal to the outside world, he flung it open and yelled, "Yo, the Anarchy here! Just letting y'all know it's nighttime. Y'all better be sleeping soon. See you tomorrow. Anarchy out." Not that this did much, but it felt good to let anyone that might be passing by that they should have a good night. Happy with his declaration, the Anarchy slammed the window shut and strode through the piles of trinkets and tools until he came to the screen. It was only partially cracked, which was why he thought it hadn't deserved to be in the junkyard in the first place. He'd found it in one of his many adventures in the magical land of rejected items of humanity. So instead of doing the sensible thing and fixing it, he brought it back to his den and plugged it in to salvage the machine. As you'll soon learn, Anarchy is almost never sensible. Not that he needs to be. He pressed the button several times in no real order until the machine began humming and the screen lit up. "Success!" he grinned. With the machine up and running, Anarchy clicked the mouse several times until it booted up his server. Once that was done, he reached for the keyboard and logged in. "TAR has logged in." Bring! TEC. "Annie!" Of course, Ecstasy would be there Of course, Ecstasy would be the first to notice he was back. That silly child was so aware of everything around her. He chuckled and typed out his reply. "Hey, X. Sup? Bring! I found another one, Anarchy." He drew his breath in. "Another one? How?" He hastily typed back. "Wait, what? Say that one more time, if you could." He waited, and waited, and waited. Finally, after an eternity, "I found another tablet, Annie." "Oh, God." "Are you going to go back to the city soon?" He hadn't thought of going back there yet. It wasn't like he was afraid of his father's old workplace. He just liked it better here, away from all signs of past humanity. But maybe it'd be better to help the little one out and just do it. With a heavy heart, he typed back. "Yeah, first thing tomorrow." This was going to come back to bite him, wasn't it? Chapter 4. The Analysis. The Analysis looked through her telescope up at the bright stars. The night air was humid and sticky, but she was still enjoying herself greatly. The stars were one of the things that she never had to fully wrap her mind around, that she didn't have to pick at constantly. But at times she enjoyed dissecting everything, picking it apart to get to the very bottom of it. However, tonight she had a purpose while gazing upon the heavens. Tonight she was for once going to find answers written in the stars. Tonight she was going to find her way back to humanity, back to life. Tonight she would make everything better. Tonight would be the last night. Of course she had planned this out to the very second of the impact. She would make sure nothing went wrong. She would make sure they'd all be gone. She adjusted her goggles and located the button on the telescope and fired. Far off, an explosion's boom crackled through the air. She smiled. That ended it then. No more pesky insects stealing her food now. The analysis smiled gleefully and jumped down from her perch. She could finally eat. Eat, eat, eat. Eat until it hurt. She wouldn't have to worry about going another day without food. She could live. She would live. She could hardly contain her glee, and so she ended up balling her fists in order to keep herself from screaming. On the way back to her home, the analysis decided to go scavenging. She was planning to have a feast, after all. But what she found was far from food. "Oh, sweet mother of science," she swore under her breath, and slid down the rocky slopes to the boy. To the body. It was a boy, a bit younger than her, curled up in a ball. She knelt down next to him and put her hand on his forehead, trying to see if he was still warm. No. In fact, he was as cold as death itself. She swore a little louder this time, and tried to get the boy up. When she touched him, his eyes snapped open and he scuttled backwards. Kid, it's okay!" But he was already running. Again. Only leaving his footsteps in the dirt. The analysis sighed. Nothing she could do, she guessed. After all, he was well enough to run. So she pushed the thought of the strange boy with the cold skin out of her mind. She had a feast to get to.